Good afternoon, I'm Rob Boskamp, and you're listening to South Texas Midday. Thank you for joining me on this Friday, February 13th. KIII News reports that King Carroll Veterans Memorial and Ray High School students participated in coordinated walkouts, citing concerns over deportations and immigration policies. In a statement issued last week, the Corpus Christi Independent School District said that activities not part of the planned instructional day are not permitted on school property and that students risk an unexcused absence when they participate in said activities. Students under 18 may only leave school during the day when signed out by a parent or guardian. While acknowledging student expression, a district spokesperson told KIII that threats affecting students and staff are taken seriously. The district also noted that additional security measures may be visible on some campuses as a precaution. Last week, students at Flower Bluff High School also participated in a student-led walkout. As reported yesterday, an investigative collaboration between the Texas and California newsrooms revealed that the U.S. Office of Refugee Resettlement is sending pregnant unaccompanied minors to a single-group shelter in San Benito. 7 sources within the office say that the region lacks the specialized care that girls as young as 13 need. KEDT's Lon Gonzalez spoke with one of the story's reporters, Mark Betancourt, to learn more. You can read the full story on our website, kedt.org. More than 1,300 people packed the McAllen Convention Center for the city's State of the City address on Wednesday. The Rio Grande Valley Business Journal reports that city officials highlighted sales tax revenue growth, affordable housing, a bump in construction permits, and economic growth. McAllen Mayor Javier Villalobos touted gains in sales tax revenue for the city's assets, hitting a new record of $99.9 million last year. That's a 3.2% increase compared to 2024. The city is now about $18,000 shy of earning $100 million in sales tax revenue. McAllen-Edinburg Mission metro area is still among the most affordable metros to live in nationwide. The average single-family home price this past December was $247,000. The Rio Grande Valley Business Journal is in partnership with KEDT. Corpus Christi city leaders held a groundbreaking yesterday for an improvement project at Commodore Park that will add more amenities to the 12-acre lot on Padre Island. Some highlights of the $3.4 million project include a playground, walking trail, and a bird observation blind, as well as 4 new pickleball courts. The improvements on Commodore Park are expected to be complete by November. Anglers in Gonzales can take advantage of fishing winter trout at Palmetto State Park, where rainbow trout have recently been restocked. Officials told 25 News Now the trout will not survive once temperatures begin to rise, making winter the best time to fish. Winter trout stocking is one of the most popular programs run by Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. The program brings cold water fish to select parks across the state, giving residents a seasonal opportunity to reel in trout. Fishing is free inside the park with a valid park entry permit. And no human has left the Earth's orbit in more than 50 years, but that could change in the coming weeks when the Artemis II mission heads to the moon. News 88.7's Michael Atkinson has more on the Johnson Space Center's role in the mission.
99, proceeded, 3, 2, 1, ignition. Right away, Houston.
53 years ago, in December 1972, Apollo 17 lifted off from the moon. It's the last time any person stepped foot on the lunar surface. Since then, no human has entered the moon's orbit, or left the Earth's orbit for that matter. But that's expected to change soon. For the first time in half a century, NASA is going back to the moon, and it's Houston's Johnson Space Center that will help make it happen.
The Johnson Space Center is crucial for any aspect of this particular mission.
That's David Alexander. He's the director of the Space Institute at Rice University.
The astronauts are all trained here. Mission control, where they're actually controlling operations, testing out the systems, talking to the astronauts through anything they need to talk to. That all happens from the Johnson Space Center.
Essentially, the entire process from the moment the astronauts launch from Cape Canaveral, Florida, is powered by a team of Houston flight controllers. Houston is Space City, after all. Its ties to the space exploration industry stretch back to the earliest days of spaceflight.
But why, some say, the moon?
It was at Rice University in 1962 that President John F. Kennedy gave one of the most famous speeches of the 20th century.
And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
The Apollo missions would go on to land on the moon, but almost a decade after Kennedy's speech, the program was canceled. No human from any country has been since. In Greek mythology, Apollo had a twin sister, Artemis. In a similar vein, NASA is hoping to replicate the successes of the Apollo era with this new initiative, the Artemis program. Artemis 2 is primed at the launch pad of the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. It will take the astronauts, NASA's Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Christina Cook, and the Canadian Space Agency's Jeremy Hansen to the moon. They won't land on the moon, that's expected in Artemis 3, but it is a major step for NASA in space exploration. In the long term, the Artemis program will establish a permanent lunar base and charter a course for a manned mission to Mars. Here's Wiseman, the Artemis 2 mission commander.
For this crew, we've been on this journey for about 2.5 years, and we truly look at that and see teamwork.
It's also a mission of historic firsts. Glover will be the first non-white astronaut, Cook the first woman, and Hansen the first non-American to venture to the moon. NASA has laid out 5 priorities for the Artemis 2 mission, which can generally be summed up as ensuring that such a mission is actually possible. Can the crew sustain such a mission in close quarters?
People do get sick. People do get injured.
Dr. Chris Lenhart is the director of space medicine at UT Health Houston.
And if they're in deep space, we really need to start thinking about how we take care of them in space as opposed to bringing them home again as quickly as possible. And that, I think, is a fundamental paradigm shift in what NASA has been doing for the last 25 years on the space station.
NASA is coming off the heels of its first ever medical evacuation from space. A recent mission to the International Space Station ended weeks early because of an undisclosed medical situation. For perspective, the space station orbits about 250 miles above the Earth, which is about the distance from Houston to Dallas. The moon, by contrast, is more than 238,000 miles away, the equivalent of flying around the Earth 10 times.
In the future, the astronauts, their spacecraft, all of their systems are going to have to start becoming more Earth independent. And that's particularly true from a medical perspective.
Equally as important, will the equipment work? The systems for this launch are drastically different than those from the Apollo missions, and far more powerful. This mission uses a rocket that NASA calls the Space Launch System. Here's David Alexander from Rice again.
There's a huge amount of difference now, and the main reason is we want these reusable systems.
The rocket is 320 feet tall, and it generates 8.8 million pounds of thrust, the upward force at launch. For context, that's 1 million more pounds than Apollo 17's rocket had in 1972. The Space Launch System rocket will detach bit by bit throughout the mission until all that's left is the Orion spacecraft, where the 4 astronauts will be. NASA says Orion is the equivalent of 4 people living in the space of 2 minivans for 10 days straight. Orion also comes with a medical kit, an exercise machine, and, importantly, a new type of space toilet that will help astronauts, as NASA puts it, boldly go. Artemis 2 will orbit the Earth twice before making its translunar burn, the firing up of its engines, which will set the spacecraft on the course for the moon.
Obviously, you don't want to miss the moon, because when you're trying to swing around it and come back, you actually need to hit the trajectory right and get the gravity of the moon to swing you around.
Flight controllers at the Johnson Space Center will orchestrate that crucial move. The Orion will then orbit the moon, including its far side. It's not the first time NASA has gone to the far side of the moon, but Artemis 2 will break the record for the furthest away from Earth astronauts have ever gone. After that orbit, the crew will return to the Earth. Earlier this month, a dress rehearsal for the mission's launch revealed a liquid hydrogen leak in one of the main rockets. NASA is now aiming for launching on March 6 at the earliest. It's another setback for NASA, which at one point had hoped to land on the moon by 2024. Space officials, though, say they're undeterred. By spring, the dream of returning to the moon could be fulfilled.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
I'm Michael Atkinson in Houston.
And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.